All right, going from 1-2 to 1025 in 2 months. Series finale. Got to get it done this week. The challenge total is right here. Remember, the goal is 25K. We're close, but not that close. So we're going to need a big week. Here we go.
All right, got off to kind of a slow start on Friday, but that all changes right here. We've got Queen Jack offsuit in the big blind. There's a straddle on and then a blind raise to 50 under the gun. Two players before us make the call. If I was suited, I'd put in a raise, but I'm not. I don't think we're strong enough to do that. I just make the call. And now the straddler claims he hasn't looked at his cards. He's just going to put in the blind call. So we've got a lot of money here going into a flop, and two of the players do not know what they have. But I know what I have, and that is the stone cold nuts. Flop comes out ace king 10 with two spades. Super wet board out there. I check, hoping to put in a check raise. Nope, everybody checks around. Turn card's the ace of clubs, so the wet board gets even wetter. There's two flush draws out there now, and we don't have the nuts anymore. I can't risk this getting checked around a second time. I bet out $150, and only the player to my left makes the call. Now this is the guy who claims he blind called before the flop. Last card isn't terrible, none of the flushes get there, but it's not great either. It's the jack of hearts, so our straight's not quite as strong as it was before. Still, I'm gonna bet. I go $330, and he doesn't make the call, and he doesn't fold. He does the thing I don't want him to do. He goes all in. Oof. Pretty tough spot for us. I'm not sure if he would jam a straight here. So it's probably either busted flush draws or a full house. And if we believe him that he didn't look at his cards before the flop, he's kind of uncapped here, right? He could have ace king, he could have kings, he could have pocket tens. Hands that he would probably raise if he knew what he had, but if he didn't, maybe he just called. So given all this, I decide to fold. He tells me later that he had ace king of hearts. Didn't see it, so can't know for sure, but I believe him. And so the first day of the week didn't go so well. We're going to need some heat going into day two. We pick up jack 9 in the big blind. The cutoff puts in a raise. Button calls. I call 2. It's only 15 bucks. Flop comes out queen 10-6, two clubs. So we've got an open ender, but it's not really the best one. And there's also a flush draw out there. Let's tread carefully. I check and it checks around. So we get to see one for free and it's a great one. King of diamonds. Two flush draws out there now. Now I'm looking to put in a check raise here, so the first start to that is checking. The cutoff, the original raiser is going to bet 75. Pretty big over bet of the pot. Button folds. He could have ace jack, but if he does, God bless him. I'm going to raise here, and I got to go big with so many draws out there. I go $300, and he eventually decides to go all in. Like I said, if you got ace jack, God bless you. I got to make the call. And he's got king 10. So we're in pretty great shape here. We decide to go twice. First board, jack of diamonds. That'd be really bad if I didn't know what his hand was. And the second one comes out as 6. So we're going to get a double up here. Just what the doctor ordered. Now, let's cook. And we're back in the big blind, this time with queen 10. Under the gun puts in a raise. Two guys call before me, and I call 2. Flop is super great. It's queen, queen 4, rainbow. I check. The pre-flop raiser puts in a bet of 20 bucks and only I make the call. Loving the situation so far. Turns a 6 of clubs, does put in a backdoor flush draw. I check. This time he bets $75. I think raising would be kind of an overplay. I just make the call again. Final card's a deuce of clubs. Backdoor flush does come in. Not super likely he has it. Could lead out here and try to get value from like jacks, kings, aces, those kinds of hands. But I just check and he goes huge. 300 bucks. And I actually don't think about this one for too long. I don't think that I can beat him. Because, like, what are the bluffs, really? Like, it'd be kind of a kamikaze bluff to just have nothing here, right? So I think he either has a better queen, a full house, or some kind of flush. So I make the fold, and he shows for the vlog. It's pocket 4, so we were in really bad shape the whole way there. A 10 would have been nice, but that's all right. This one's a pretty one. Jack 10 suited, under the gun. I raise it up, and we go 4 ways to a flop. And the flop's really pretty too. It's ace queen 5 with 2 clubs. We've got a royal flush draw. I'm gonna size up on this kind of board. I go $50 and only one player makes the call. Heads up, going to a turn. Not a great one. It's an offsuit 5. Shouldn't really hit him other than like ace 5 suited. So I'm gonna keep betting 125 and he again makes the call. Now, plan A is to get there, but sometimes you got to go to plan B. It's an offsuit 4. Can't check over jack high to him here, not on this board. I think only ace 5 suited and ace queen are his really strong hands. Anything besides that's going to be put in a really tough spot when I bet big. I go $400 and he folds pretty quickly. So he may have just also been on a draw, or maybe just had his mind made up if I was going to bet the river. Not sure, but happy to get one through here. Then we got ace jack on the button. The straddle's on, so when action folds to me, I raise it up to 30. Now, the small blind's going to put in a 3-bet. He goes 110, and I feel like I could do any of the 3 options here, call, fold, or raise, and I'm going to raise. I go 275. Kind of bluffing, kind of not. I mean, my hand's decent, but I definitely don't want him to go all in here. I expect him to go all in or fold most of the time, but he actually goes for call. So we're going to see a flop here, and it's pretty good. Jack 8-7 rainbow. Top pair, top kicker for us. He checks. I think I want to go for like bet really small here and then go all in on most turns. I go 140, and again, he doesn't fold or jam. He just makes the call. Turn comes 6 of diamonds. He checks. Now there's some stuff that beats us here, and I'm kind of worried that he was slow playing a big pair. Like, he could totally have aces or kings here. He could also have pocket 8s. He could have 10-9, but ideally he just has a worse jack. And there's a lot of bad rivers like 9-10, queen king, so I don't really want to just check this one back here. I'm gonna go all in and hope he doesn't have us beat, and he definitely didn't because he folds really quickly. And finally we get a monster, ace king. The straddle's on again. Player in early position raises up to 30. I'm gonna 3-bet this. I go 100. Now the button puts in a cold call, and the original raiser calls too, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. King, queen, 9, rainbow. So top pair, top kicker for us. First player checks. I'm actually going to put in a check too. Pretty dynamic board. I want to just kind of see where I'm at. And the button bet's $75. Other guy folds. Could raise here. I'm just going to make the call. Turns a 7. I check again and he bets again. 225. This time I'm not really thinking about raising. I just call. And the final card's an ace. Now I think about leading out here, right? Because I think he's going to check back like king jack, king 10. But I think he'd bet anything better than that. So like if he has king queen, if he has queen 9, king 9, he's not going to check it back. And also he could have us beat, right? What if he has pocket 9s or jack 10? So I just check and he goes big, 800. Definitely not thinking about raising this. It's call or fold, and well, this guy is pretty action. I think he's definitely capable of putting in a big bluff here, and he might just be value owning himself too, right? With a worse 2 pair. I flick in the call, and nope, he's just got the nuts. Jack 10 suited. Shit. All that hard work, all those hands where I had to maneuver my way in and out, and most of it's gone just like that. So we end up booking a small win in the early session, but we come back on Saturday night, the best time of the week to play poker. We really need some heat for this challenge. Let's find it. We've got king jack. There's a raise. I'm gonna 3-bet. He makes the call, and we see king 6-5 with a flush draw. He checks. I'm gonna bet about the same amount, and he makes the call. Turn is another king, feeling really good about my hand now. Now there's 2 flush draws out there, and he's actually going to lead out here. Goes 150. Could just call here in position, but I think with 2 flush draws, with some straight draws, I want to charge all of those. I go 450. He thinks about it. If he jams, it kind of sucks because I think we'd lose like pretty often, but we'd for sure still call. But it doesn't come to that. He just makes the fold, so we're off to a good start here. Come on, let's get it going. We need something. And we get the alleged monster again, ace king on the button. There's a straddle, a limp. I go 40, the big blind and the limper call, so we're going 3 ways to a flop, and it's really good. King 5 deuce 2 spades. Action actually isn't going to check to me. The player who limped in originally is actually going to lead out here. Could raise, but I just make the call. Turn doesn't really change anything. He leads again. Alright, should still have the best hand. I call again, and the river's the 5 of spades. So flush draw does come in, which is kind of what I was putting him on the whole way. Also, if he has a 5 for some reason, he wins now. He doesn't check it over. I guess that's not really his deal, you know. He bets $400, and well, I've played this about as passively as I could, so I should probably call, right? But I just don't think I win. I don't think he takes this line with the worst king. And the flush draw got there, so what exactly are his bluffs? Like 3-4? That's not spades? I mean, that's pretty much it, right? That's all I can think of. Unless he's just doing some batshit crazy thing, but on this board, it seems kind of unlikely. Yeah, I'm struggling to find a reason to call, to be honest. I show my hand, the table can't believe it. I guess they think I should for sure call, but... Hey, you serious? That good?
Jesus Christ.
I want to hide it.
Hide it.
That way nobody knows. What do I beat? I don't see what I beat. So yeah, let's just fold it. How about that? Let's fold it. Show it and shove. And he doesn't show, which makes me think that he had me beat. Okay, now let's play a real monster. 7-6 offsuit. There's 2 limps before me. I raise it up to 30. Now the small blind's gonna put in a 3-bet. Seems like it's time to abort, but he goes really small, $65. There's a cold call before me, and with these odds in position, I would call literally any hand. Let's see a flop, and it's queen 5-5 rainbow. Well, that's not quite us. Action does check to me though. I'm not gonna start bluffing though, I just check. And the turn gives us some equity. It's the 8 of clubs. So we've got an open ender here on a paired board. This time the small blind is gonna bet, and when the other player folds, I think a lot of the time this guy is just gonna have air. Given the way he played it, maybe like jacks, 10s, 9s, those kinds of hands. Let's pretend to have pocket 8s. I'm gonna raise it up, and he thinks about it, but he does put in the call. So we're gonna see the river here, and it's a 9. Okay, well, now we probably win. He checks, and not bluffing anymore. Let's size up for some value. I'm gonna go 420.
Smoke weed every day.
But he folds pretty quickly. Okay, back to the alleged monsters. Pocket queens in the low jack. There's a raise from early position. I go 70, and when it gets back to him, he's gonna 4-bet, and he goes pretty big. 305. Now, we both have about $2,000 to start the hand. I think 5-betting is an overplay. He's gonna fold anything I beat and go with anything that beats me. So like kings or aces, maybe ace king. This deep, I'm just gonna make the call in position, keep his bluffs in, and the flop comes out not so great. 2 aces out there. So now a lot of his 4-bet bluffs just beat me, right? Like ace 5 suited, ace 3 suited, those kinds of things. He bets really small, 150. I can still beat like jacks and 10s and, you know, the bluffs that he still has. So I make the call, and the turn doesn't really change too much. He bets again, this time 450, and well, now I kind of got to make a decision for the hand, right? He either has an ace or nothing, and he's got a lot of aces in his range. Really tough to see queens being good here, even against a good player like this guy. I make the fold, and he shows us 1 card, and it's the 4 of spades. So yeah, I guess either ace 4 suited or 5-4 suited. Either way, I was way ahead pre-flop, and decent chance I was still ahead here too. So well played by him. Nice hand. Alright, back to the real monsters. Queen deuce suited. We're in the cutoff, 2 players limp in. I'm gonna raise it up to 30, and they both make the call. Flop is 8-8-5, 2 hearts. Action checks to me. Let's see if I can just pick it up right here. I put in a bet. 1 player makes the call. Turns an offsuit 3. I'm gonna bet again, and again he's going nowhere. He makes the call. River is an 8. He checks, and well, the thing about these no equity bluffs that I run sometimes is, yeah, there's like no hope of winning unless you just get him to fold. So with this card, I think a lot of my hands make sense, right? Basically just all over pairs. I think I would play pocket queens the same way. I'd play kings the same way. If I had an 8, I would play it the same way. I mean, quads is very possible for me here. It's also possible for him. That would suck. But I gotta go for this one. I go big. $400, and he goes into the tank. He thinks for what feels like 2 or 3 minutes, but eventually he says, I call. I let him know that he's good, and he shows 5-4 of hearts. So he had a pretty big hand the whole way, pair and a flush draw on the flop. Flush didn't come in, but I guess the pair was good the whole way. Nice call, nice hand, and yeah. Despite the small win early, despite the strong start, I'm gonna lose again on this day. Not gonna lie, guys, the challenge doesn't look great. Needed some heat, and it's just been ice cold. I think I've played pretty well, to be honest, thus far. I know punting with queen deuce doesn't look great, but, you know, there was some logic in there. Let's not forget that. So we're gonna need a lot of help going into the Sunday session. Let's see if we can find it. How about pocket fives to get us going? We're in the cutoff, player in middle position raises it up, I make the call, so does the small blind. Flop is 10-7-6 rainbow, not the board for fives. When action checks to me, could maybe stab here, but there's just too much out there. I check back, and the turn is a 6. Brings in a flush draw also. Small blind checks, the player who originally raised is now gonna bet 30, and well, I don't really believe this, because he's kind of saying he's got a 6, maybe like 8s or 9s. I think it's more likely that he has some kind of flush draw, or he's just stabbing at it. I'm actually gonna put in a raise here, try to take this hand right now. I go 115, but he makes the call. Final card is another 6. He checks, and yeah, I think checking back is the move here. I don't think he's going to fold anything that beats me, and I don't think he's going to call anything that I beat. So I check, and he had king 5 of clubs, so he did have a flush draw. Nice little read here, and we pick up a small one to get us going. But that'll be the end of the small ones. I've got a huge bomb pot hand here. Ace, jack, jack 10 with nut hearts. First board is huge for us. There's a jack out there, and we have the nut flush draw. Second board, not really so much going on for us. A player's gonna bet out 75 bucks. I call, and so does the button. So we're gonna see some turns here. We don't improve on the first board, but we get the gin jack on the second board. So now we're playing both. The player who bet the flop is actually gonna check now. I'm gonna go pot 345. Button makes the call, and now the player who just checked is gonna check raise pot. That's gonna put us all in, and the button goes with his hand too. Those guys have about $300 more than me, so there's gonna be a little money on the side, but there's a lot in the main pot. We could win both, we could get scooped. Not really sure what's gonna happen here. Let's see some runouts.
Do it.
Oof. That is not good at all. We don't get there with our flush or full house outs on the first board, and flushes and straights come in on the second. But somehow, some way, we are going to get half of this pot. They actually both had ace queen with like no chances of improvement. And so we're going to win some money here, like 600 bucks, I think. Could have been a lot more. I mean, like, you look at the hands, right? I couldn't lose on the second board, and I could have gotten the other one too with a heart or a board pair, or even like a queen. We'd tie with them, but unfortunately no such luck. This is why you got to play the bomb pots. I know I've struggled with these in some of the videos, but things like this could happen where you're just in an amazing situation. I wish it went a little bit better, but that's okay. And if you thought I had a good hand last time, this one is even better. I've got king, jack, 9 deuce with diamonds. Not as good of a starting hand as the last one, but check out the flops. Ace 5 deuce, diamond, diamond, diamond on the first one. That's the nuts. I guess they could have a straight flush, but we'll call it the nuts. And king, king, deuce on the other board. That is also the nuts. So I'm in the big blind here. I lead out 75 bucks, and action folds all the way to the small blind. No, we can't all fold. Thankfully, we do get some action. He's going to make the call, and we see a king come out on the first board, which means we can't lose the other board now because he can't have a king, right? So even if he can't fill up to a better full house. So the run out is really pure. I bet again on the turn. He calls again. River, we've still got the nuts. I'm going to bet 425, hoping for a call, and we do get it. He calls with ace 10-10-3. So he had clubs on the board that we had a full house on, and he ended up rivering a straight on the other board. Yeah, not a very good hand by him. So we're going to win a pretty big one here with the bomb pot. Finally catching some punts on these bomb pots, right? At this point, it's pretty unlikely that I win the challenge, but let's give it a try. Let's go. And the alleged monster returns. Ace king on the button. Low jack raises, hijack calls. I've been 3-betting a ton, and I'm gonna 3-bet here. I go 85. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 4-bet just because I've been 3-betting a lot. Maybe somebody's gonna stop believing me, but that doesn't happen. We just get the original raiser to make the call. Flop is queen, queen 3 rainbow. He checks. Not really sure. Could bet small or check back. I decided to check this one back. Turn's great, it's the ace of diamonds, and he leads out small, 50 bucks. I think for this price, we've got to raise, hoping to get called by worse aces primarily, or maybe some pocket pairs that just don't believe us. I go 150, and he does make the call. Final card's the jack of hearts. I guess king 10 of diamonds gets there, but that's pretty much it. He checks, and we still beat all aces except ace queen. I go 280, he makes the call. Looks good to me, but nope, he has pocket threes, so okay. I can actually kind of see why he wouldn't raise the river, just because as a 3-better, I'd have a lot of big hands, but yeah, still sucks. But don't worry guys, the monster is back, and this time it's suited, ace king diamonds. Maybe this time we can get it going, right? There's a straddle, a raise, a couple of callers. I'm gonna squeeze huge here, and the original raiser makes the call. We kind of just totally whiff. It's jack 10-9 with a flush draw that we do not have. I start out with a small bet, just hoping somehow he has like pocket fives and he'll fold. He doesn't though, he makes the call. That's okay, there's a lot of turns that we could keep betting on, but the 7 of spades really isn't one of them. So I'm just gonna check give up here. He puts in a bet, and yeah, I'm out. Wish I didn't play ace king at all this weekend, but you know, it's allegedly a monster. So we do book a win here on a Sunday, but it's not going to be enough to get us out of the hole. Let's talk about the week, and let's talk about the challenge as a whole. What's up, big dog? What's up, big dog? What do you think about this, huh? We lost, but that's okay. Maybe. So yeah, not quite how I wanted that to go. The final challenge total is up on the screen. Kind of feels like the end, but it's not. I'm gonna finish this. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I'll be back in Dallas next week, and I'll pretty much just play up until I hit the 25K. So hopefully that happens in like 1 week, not in 3 or 4. But yeah, the next video I make will be actually finishing the challenge. So didn't quite make it in 2 months, but we're still gonna make it.